Well, just how is Sri Lanka faring when it comes to COVID-19? Well, the government says that it's been able to curtail the spread significantly and will be easing restrictions from next week to revive economic activity. Joining us to talk more about Sri Lanka's response is Sajith Premadasa, the former leader of opposition in Sri Lanka. Mr. Premadasa, thank you very much, sir, for talking to us. Now, let me begin by asking you, what is the current situation like in Sri Lanka?
I must say, as a country, we have excelled at maintaining very low figures in terms of number of fatalities and in the number of infected people. However, I have a particular reservation about it, and that is I personally feel that the frequency and the number of tests that have been done are woefully inadequate. I think we have been able to maintain these laudable numbers, but I think more and more tests need to be done. If one looks at the comparative numbers of tests that have been made in Sri Lanka and in the rest of the nation states impacted by the coronavirus, the numbers are too small. So I think there is an urgent requirement and a necessity to conduct more tests. And the greater the number of tests that we do, then we will be able to ascertain a realistic figure, an estimate with regard to the numbers affected.
Right. You are saying that testing is important at this point, but the government plans to ease restrictions. Why?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, the lockdown was implemented to ensure that the propensity for transmission of the disease are reduced to a greater extent. However, we have had to suffer a great opportunity cost, an opportunity cost in terms of retardation of economic activity. And there has been an obvious economic downturn because of the strict lockdown that has taken place. So one needs to be extremely pragmatic and measured in the steps that you take. Once again, while reiterating the important achievement of maintaining low numbers, here again, I think we all have to be very realistic in knowing the reality. The reality is we have had low number of tests, and we need to accelerate the number of tests in order to ascertain a realistic number who are impacted, and that can dictate the extent of the shutdowns and lockdowns that are being implemented.
So let me ask you then, is the easing of these restrictions in any way linked to the elections in Sri Lanka?
Well, elections are a part and parcel of a democratic process. And in order to attain the highest standards of parliamentary democracy, we should have elections. While that is of paramount importance, what is of greater importance and the greater necessity and the national priority is to ensure that the corona eradication process has achieved much, has achieved the national objectives, that we have minimized the impact of the coronavirus, that we have minimized the possibility of a spread, especially a community spread, which would be devastating. It would have a detrimental impact both on the health sector and on the country economy. So while understanding and acknowledging the importance of elections, parliamentary elections, it is far more important to have an environment that is propitious for having elections. Right now, my impression is this is not the time to have elections. This is the time to have a very stringent approach to eradicating COVID-19 corona.